Happy Saturday, my fellow GPers and caregivers. I had said I was going to go live on, I think it was Friday night. We ended up hanging out with some friends longer than I had anticipated and had some fun. And I thought today I would just go live, and I just wanted to share with you that, first of all, if you don't know and you're a Gastroparesis warrior, it is National Gastroparesis Awareness Month. August is. And so every day I'm trying to post and on my regular Facebook page and also here. And I'm doing that simply because I think one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and throughout the month I'll have different topics, but you know, when you're chronically sick and it's something that unless they've had it, they truly don't understand how you feel, that you don't feel understood. And when you don't feel understood, especially when you feel at your worst, it is so frustrating. And even though we shouldn't need that, affirmation, because we know what's going on with our bodies, we don't need to make excuses, but we're all human as well. And so we all, I think, truly want to be understood. And so I encourage you to get out there and get outside your comfort zone. First of all, please do the GP Pie Face Challenge. It's so much fun. It is simple. You just need a can of whipped cream, a paper plate, and just pie yourself. Make sure you add the hashtag GP Pie Face Challenge and smash GP. And if you share it on my page, what I'm going to do for as many entries with the Pie Face Challenge. So let's say you do it once in August, and then you'll go into a drawing. And what I'm going to give is a book called Sick and Tired of Feeling Sick and Tired. So how many times you do the Pie Face Challenge is how many times you'll be entered to win. So through the month of August. So go out there, you guys, do some funny videos. They really do help spread awareness and in a good way, and also makes people laugh. And a lot of people that, like us, we need a little laughter in our lives to keep going. So I also wanted to share with you, along with not being understood, along with that, I found when I'm at my sickest, what we call a GP flare. Basically, what that means is that for some people, your GP, if you're taking the right medications and things are working for you and your diet, and you can kind of go into remission of your symptoms and do very well, and then it's kind of like a valley. You have a big dip, and all of a sudden they call it a GP flare, and it could be anything that causes it. It could be the weather, it could be medication, it could be not enough sleep, it could be stress, it could be your menstrual cycle, it could be so many different things you just don't know. But when I'm in a flare, I don't feel understood, because most of the time my nausea is so bad that I can't talk. And my friend pointed out to me, I was struggling the other day. Sometimes my nausea is so bad it gets to be very overwhelming and hard to deal with, just being honest. And when I talked with her, she had said, Joni, you've got to practice what you preach. And so I recommend things to you guys, and I do them. But I think what I have been told and stuff, whatever, is that I'm really hard on myself. And so I'm going to share something with you that when I had crashed, after I drove 8 hours in one day for an event for my work, I knew I was going to crash. I always do when I do that. But I want to be normal as much as possible. And I'm willing to take the sick days that I know are going to come after that, just so I can get out there, see people, and have fun and laugh. And anyways, I crashed after I got home, and I couldn't talk to my husband, and he was talking to me, and I'm a talker. And so it's really frustrating to be inside of a body, first of all, that you're so sick that you can't communicate with someone, and also that your brain and everything else inside is fine. It's just your body isn't working with you, and it's so frustrating. So I wrote down a few things that I was thinking about in my head that I couldn't say because my nausea was so bad. And for me, I just thought I'd share it with you, because some of the things that I wrote down is stinking thinking, and I need to continue to see a therapist, which is something that I do once a week. It's a huge adjustment to have a chronic illness, and it does impact not only your life, it can impact and has impacted my independence level. It's impacted friends, that I've lost because of being sick, who don't understand, when I say I can't come to something, they, will soon stop asking or things like that. And you just want people to understand. So I've been there, and so I didn't want to say these things to anyone because I didn't want anyone to know how I felt deep down. But I think me sharing it, if I can help just one person and someone else who's feeling that way about themselves, then if I'm sharing it, it's worth it. So what I did was I wrote down here, and I wrote, I am sad. I get sad a lot because I miss me. I miss the old me. Everything hurts. When I'm in a flare, I don't know about you, but everything seems to hurt. Most of the time it's tied with dehydration for me personally, but everything hurts. I feel like I can't breathe. That happens because the gastric juices and enzymes, they build up and they're not moving, and so they push up on your diaphragm and on your lungs, and you get short of breath. Also, anxiety can do that as well, and that's something I deal with. I feel like I'm going to pass out. That happens to me as well. My pulse will drop really low and my blood pressure, and I feel like I'm going to pass out, and it's a very terrible feeling. I feel like I'm crawling out of my skin. Sometimes I feel so sick that I just can't get comfortable. I can't sleep. I can't watch anything. I'm restless. I just can't. I just want to crawl out of my skin, and it's not a fun feeling to feel. I'm mad. I'm mad sometimes at the time that I lost. I know that I need to get over it because I can't change it, but it's really hard to get over such a loss. I've lost about 5 years of my life being the GP Joni versus the old me, and I've lost so much time in my 30s and time with my kids and time with my husband and friends and family that it just really makes me mad sometimes. I think we all get mad about having an illness that we can't control. So obviously frustrated. I get frustrated about so many different things. One of the biggest things, like I said, is to have people assume things about me who don't know about me or don't want to understand or try to understand and walk in my shoes and learn a little bit about what gastroparesis is, because there are people that are just flat out don't care, and there are people out there that you know how it goes. You ask someone at the grocery store, hi, how are you? And you just say your typical, fine, thanks, you know, but you're really not fine half of the time, but you know the person doesn't really want to hear it and stuff. And sometimes people just don't like sick people because they don't understand. And so that's another reason why I share this and I go outside my comfort zone, is because the more awareness that we share, then people can maybe look at our path and see it through a different lens, the lens that we want them to see it with. So sometimes I feel hopeless. You know, when you're feeling so sick, it's a hopeless feeling because you know deep down there's no cure for gastroparesis, and there are treatments and things you can do, but you can also exhaust that suitcase of things that you can do, and then it's just trying to live your life the best that you can, the best quality of life, and find out how to do that. And it's a trial and error, and it sometimes feels really hopeless. I feel inadequate. I feel inadequate as a mother and as a wife and as a friend, simply because I don't have the strength that I had before GP. I'm a lot stronger now, but I am nowhere near how I used to be. I also wrote down, and I wrote it 3 times, and I think this is something that a lot of people feel, especially if you're married or have kids. Burden, burden, burden. Feeling like a burden has been something that I've struggled with on my gastroparesis journey so very much. I hate to have my husband help me do things. I was so independent before GP, and it is so hard for me to accept that I might not get back all my independence, and sometimes I have to give the reins over to my husband and just let him do those things, or have my friends let them help me, even though deep down I don't want them to help me. I appreciate that they're asking, but I want to be able to do it myself. And so I feel like, you know, sometimes that I'm just a burden, and that my family and friends and stuff would be better off if they didn't have someone who was sick in their life. And I think that's something that maybe every one of us feel. I'm forgetful when I'm in a flare. I can't help it. My husband dispenses my meds because I either forget what I'm supposed to take, or I forget to take them, and I can't remember. I'm always nauseous. That is my number one symptom of gastroparesis. It is, for me, every single day, 24 hours a day. It is very wearing, and it can be almost depressing sometimes to deal with, but I try very hard to just put a smile on my face and learn to live with it, and pray that there will be something out there soon that will help better than what I am doing right now. I wrote down, can't speak always when I want to. again, I'm a talker, so it's really hard to be trapped in a body when you're really sick and you want to say so many things, but you can't communicate. I'm so cold. When I'm in a GP flare, I'm very, very cold. I have an intolerance to cold, so I do very well in the summer and spring months, and I flare typically in fall and winter time. We've kind of noticed the pattern, and I think that has something to do with it. I can't handle the cold. Right now I don't have a doctor. I have a specialist, but I don't have an internal med doctor. We're switching care, and so for me everything's kind of up in the air, and that makes me feel like everything is out of control. I feel like I'm costing my family a lot of money, and that gives me a lot of guilt. So it makes me feel like I need to work harder on my business sometimes when I'm not feeling well enough to do so, just to make up for what I've caused for my family to deal with. Sometimes I'm so lonely. Gastroparesis is a disease that can be isolating, because who wants to get sick somewhere in a public restroom? You know, food smells are hard to overcome. Simple lunch dates, dinner dates don't always work anymore, and so it can get to be very lonely and isolating. That's why I like the job that I do, is that I can still do something that keeps me feeling ambitious and have something to strive for, but I can do it on my own time. I am not reliable, and I would not be able to do a regular 8 to 5 job anymore, even though I used to, and I just don't simply have the strength, and I don't know if I ever will. I feel inept. I feel like with all the symptoms that I have, my business and my kids and juggling everything, that I just drop the ball on so many things, and I don't mean to. It just gets so overwhelming, and then at a certain point I just crash. I don't have a choice. My body just gives out, basically, and that makes me feel inept. I'm so tired. When I'm in a flare, I thought I knew tired, but I didn't know tired until taking a shower was the only thing I could do in a day, and that would exhaust me. So when I'm in a flare, I am exhausted. It is a fatigue that I never knew experienced before. It's that much. I don't know if that's your experience, but that's been mine. I also wrote worthless. I feel like I'm worthless for a lot of the reasons I said above. I feel like sometimes, like when I'm sick or in a flare, that I don't have much to give back or to give to people, and I feel like I'm taking, and it just makes me feel worthless. So my job, or what I do, I help people feel their best, and so that helps kind of fill in that part of my soul that feels empty. There's so much conflict, and what I mean by that is, you know, when you're married and you have a chronic illness, you're bound to have clashes, you know, and it can have strain on your marriage and things like that, you know, and it did for us for a while. It got really, really hard, but we've come a long way, and I'm very grateful for my husband, and you know, I can highly recommend just going to talk to someone. If you're married and have gastroparesis and you're trying to manage it with a family, it's a lot, and I really recommend getting together with a counselor just for a little while, and just so that they can understand you and you can understand them, and the more communication that you have, the better your marriage will be after you go through something. And I can say that our relationship is much stronger because we've gone through GP than it would have been without having a chronic illness. We've really, even though it's been a long, hard road, we've grown tighter, and he's my best friend, and so we still fight sometimes, but it's much better. But it took a while to get there, and we had to do the work to get there. I worry incessantly. It never stops. I have anxiety, so that on top of gastroparesis, my mind is going a mile a minute. It's just constantly moving. Sometimes my husband thinks I don't hear him. I hear him, but I'm just so far above, like, what he's talking about, thinking about every scenario that could go wrong. And you know, it is something that is exhausting. When you worry or feel anxious all the time, it's exhausting. It's physically exhausting, and you know, my nausea and triggers my anxiety, or anxiety can trigger my nausea. So they work against each other. But I don't know if everybody knows, and this is something I learned from my doctor, is GP gives you anxiety. So if you already had anxiety before you were diagnosed with GP and you have GP, your anxiety, like from my experience, can be definitely heightened to another level. And that has been my experience, and it's something that I've had to fight through, and I still do every single day. That's something that's still really hard for me. I wrote that I'm alone most of the time, and I kind of explained that. And I miss my old life. I miss my old life a lot, and I bet you do too. And I hold on to the fact that I was told from Mayo that 25% people with gastroparesis get better, and 75% have to do life-saving measures to have the best quality of life, and that's basically our prognosis. But there's still that hope to be that 25%, you know, and I believe in the power of prayer, and I believe in spreading awareness, and that somewhere along the way, that there's going to be people that help us, and that I believe that I'll see a cure in my lifetime. I really do, and I don't think I could live with this illness every single day if I didn't believe that. So I might not ever see it in my lifetime, but I choose to be positive and believe that maybe there's hope. Because if you don't have hope, depression will set in, and it's very, very hard to get out of. And so I highly encourage you to get out there, and the way we can take control of our situation back, some of it, is just by educating and sharing. So you don't have to share as much as I do. I'm just really honest and real, simply because I was alone. I didn't know anyone else like me. I wanted to connect with other people like me because I didn't feel understood by anyone in my circle. And you guys have done that for me. And so I feel like I can share here, and I hope that you feel that you can too. So that's some of the thinking that, you know, I think goes on in our heads that we don't talk about, and we're ashamed. You know, but the more we talk about it, the more we can overcome those negative thoughts. Because if I was going to talk to someone, if my friend Rachel had sent this to me, I could tell her why every single thing of these that I just said wasn't true. But I can't do that for my own self. So that's something I need to work on for me. And if I have that problem, you might too. So I just thought I'd share a little bit about the hard, the dark stuff people don't talk about. So that's kind of what I wanted to share about. Please feel free to comment, hit like on our page so I can help more people. And I hope you have a great day, and I will keep sharing as the month goes on, and I'm super excited to see those pies fly. So y'all have a great Saturday, and thanks for listening. Take care, and Cure GP.